Welcome to Stage 7 of the 2016 Tour de France. All 198 participants of the 103rd edition of the Tour de France started Stage 7. For the first time in the history of the Tour, there has not been one abandon recorded after the first 6 stages. That almost changed when the Flame Rouge launched a surprise attack on the group of pre-race favourites with 1 kilometer to go, but more of that in a little bit later. 12 riders rode away from the peloton in the first kilometers of racing after leaving l'Île-Jourdain. They included Peter Sagan of Tinkoff and Mark Cavendish of Dimension Data. Sagan and Cavendish obviously had it in mind to contest the intermediate sprint located only 25.5 kilometers to go before the finish, and just before the beginning of the ascent of the Col d'Aspin. However, because neither Kittel or Greipel were there, both Belgian teams of Etixx Quick-Step and Lotto Soudal successfully chased hard enough to bring the break back, and the bunch was all back together again after 43 kilometers of racing. The attacks kept going until eventually Fabian Cancellara of Trek Segafredo initiated the decisive one at kilometer number 46. This time Sagan didn't manage to make it across, because the world champion was highly marked by the rest of the sprinter teams. Several offences led to the formation of the 29-man leading group at kilometer 53, including Izagirre of Movistar, Vincenzo Nibali of Astana, the yellow jersey Greg Van Avermaet most notably, Stephen Cummings of Dimension Data, Sylvain Chavanel, a perennial attacker like Thomas the Tank Wuckler, was there, and Tony Martin of Etixx Quick-Step was there, Danny Navarro of Cofidis, Daryl Impey of Orica Bike Exchange, and they reached a maximum advantage of 5 minutes 52 seconds at 76 kilometers. With 50 kilometers to go, the time difference was down at 4 minutes 25, as Team Sky and Movistar didn't want to enable Nibali to be able to move back up the general classification. They seemed to be totally ignoring what Van Avermaet is doing, and that might be to their peril. The winner of the 2014 Tour de France, in other words Nibali, took the only point up for grabs on the Côte de Cap Verne with 45.5 kilometers to go. 2 kilometers further, the leading group split into several pieces. With 27 kilometers to go, however, Cummings rode a race solo using his super low friction snow white ceramic chain, like he did on the final stage of the Criterium du Dauphiné. Nibali, Navarra, Van Avermaet and Impey tried in vain to chase him down all the way up the Col d'Aspin. Van Avermaet couldn't hold the pace, and at halfway into the 12 kilometer long climb, letting Navarro, Nibali and Impey move on ahead, while up in the front Cummings kept on increasing his lead going up the hill. Thibaut Pinot was the main rider to be dropped from the group of favourites, who crested the Col d'Aspin 3 minutes 20 behind Cummings. Pinot would eventually lose 2 minutes 45 to the rest of the favourites by the finish line, effectively ending his tour aspirations. The Englishman stayed away, whereas Nibali wasn't able to follow Impey and Navarro, who took second and third places. Thanks to his very smart ride, Van Avermaet has now increased his lead in the overall rankings to 6 minutes 36 over second-placed Julien Alaphilippe, ahead of 2 particularly grueling stages coming up in the Pyrenees. It's interesting to note that the official Tour media stream makes absolutely no mention of the inflatable 1 kilometer to go banner that collapsed into or onto the main group of favourites, delaying their progress and causing Adam Yates to crash. Adam Yates eventually rolled across the finish line with the help of a teammate, his face covered in blood. But official Tour results for the stage show Adam Yates losing almost 4 minutes to the favourites that he was riding with, and this as a result of the crash caused by an official Tour de France banner. We'll have to wait and see what the results of the appeal that is obviously being put in, number 1 by the group of favourites and number 2 by Adam Yates' team as well. That brings me to the end of my report on stage 7 of the Tour de France. Remember to click like, share, subscribe, post any comments, questions, criticisms you may have in the comment section down below, and last but by no means least, stay carved up for the win, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.
Coach Edu.